What's up, people? How you doing today? My name is Cassandra Bill. I'm your host. Welcome to the Naked Ego Podcast, a platform where men are willing to strip down their ego and be authentic and vulnerable while they share their story. Welcome to the podcast, Kinyua. How are you, man?
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, your episode went out, and then we had special requests. There are people who are telling me, every time or any time Kinyua comes back, you need to notify me.
Oh no, man! Seriously. Why so? What happened?
I really don't know.
Did I rub some people the wrong way? Was the truth a little bit too conk?
No, people loved those who reached out. They loved your episode, and they're like, there's something about this guy. I don't know if it's his way of talking, his voice, or what he says, but there is something. So I was like, there's a lot of power in your words and how you put them out there. Plus,
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you've shared your story off the camera with me, and now you've gone through, you've had quite a share of life out there.
Bro, everything happens under the sun.
Exactly.
And under the sun, you do experience a lot. So.
Yes, and now that prompts us to today's topic of the day. Toxic relationships. Yeah, toxic relationships.
You know what's interesting about toxic relationships?
Uh-huh.
Do we ever discuss ourselves as the subject, the contributors to toxic relationships?
Often enough, no.
Exactly.
Personal experience. I've been in a toxic relationship.
Me too, man.
And at that time, when I was in a toxic relationship, I also was the toxic person. You get it? But I never saw myself as a toxic person.
Yeah.
Yes. Months and years later, when I was doing my research just in terms of toxicity and all that, that's when I was like, this sounds and looks like who I was in that relationship.
And how do you feel when you look at yourself and then you realize, yo, man, I was the one contributing to this foul environment? As I'm asking you this, I'm also thinking about me, man. I blew up. You remember when I mentioned about 15th December?
Yes.
I'm still not going to talk about it, bro. But I do agree that I also did have a little bit of toxicity in it. And,
so for me, when I think about, when I entertain the thought of, okay, I also contributed, it's a humbling moment. Yeah. It's a humbling moment in the way that, okay, sometimes we don't know it all. That is one. And then two, we are in certain spaces at a particular point in time where your judgment and you can't just see it all.
Yeah.
You can't see everything as is. There is something that can kind of sway our judgment. Situations and all that.
You know what? I think, everybody has this insatiable desire to get things their way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You've worked so hard on yourself because there's this caliber, there's this standard of interaction that you just want, and there's a way you just want to be treated by the person you're eyeing,
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a function of age that our minds open and we start becoming clear that it's a partnership. But selfishness drives the agenda, bro.
Good. I love that you've said that. I think now we can actually try and define what toxic relationship. How would we define? Do you want to go first?
No, I think you do, man.
I think I wrote mine down. I'm not that smart.
Hey, bro, please, man.
Yeah, so I was like, oh no, let me just put it down on paper. So let me read it out. What is a toxic relationship? Toxic relationship is a relationship characterized by behavior on the part of the toxic partner that are emotionally and not infrequently physically damaging. So basically that means the relationship, the toxic person is emotionally damaging, but sometimes they might not be physically damaging at that moment. And I continue, while a healthy relationship contributes to our self-esteem and emotional energy, a toxic relationship damages self-esteem and drains energy. And I go on further. What defines a toxic relationship is dysfunctional as the norm. So that basically means every other day, there is some sense of dysfunctional stuff just going on. The toxic partner engages in inappropriate, controlling, and manipulative behaviors on pretty much a daily basis. Paradoxically, to the outside world, the toxic partner often behaves in an exemplary manner. Holy moly.
Exactly. You want to be the one who's the angel. You never cause the problems. You know, like it's everything done against me.
Yes.
And I'm never the one who causes an issue.
And actually, I think I like how this guy breaks it down. Like it's based on self-esteem and damage. Because I read somewhere that toxic people, what they're trying so hard to achieve, they're trying to achieve control of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in that relationship, there's so many other things that are happening. But if you come from a space of low self-esteem, you want to try and acquire control for as much as you can, either in the decisions, either in knowing where your partner is, either in knowing the type of relationship that your partner has, either in wanting to even want to know the type of relationship that your partner has with the colleagues and all that. Like, you just want to be controlling and dominant. You really want to know how she or he spends their money and all. You
know what? We focus so much on the aesthetics of this whole toxicity and cap it in the emotional, in the mental. You are going out there looking good. There's one thing that people don't talk about, man.
Tell me, my brother.
Wacha nichome, sinichome.
Choma, bro.
Bad sex is part of toxicity.
How?
Listen.
Bad
sex is part of toxicity.
I think you've thrown me off.
Why have I thrown you off?
I'm trying to understand which part of bad sex.
This part of bad sex. Okay, fine. You know, like adult content. This is it. I mean, you don't always have good sex.
Yes.
First, let's get it. There are days like you can be good at it and stuff. There are days that you're just not feeling it, right? But if you stop making the effort to make this whole agenda spiced up, you become too selfish. You become ignorant of your partner's need. And you become like you literally shut down the opportunity to express and let loose.
I get your point.
And then you try and pin it on everything else other than your willingness to improve the standard.
Then, on that account, I think we should not blame it on sex.
Blame it on what?
We should blame it on... you've mentioned something to do with the willingness to improve.
Yes.
That, for example, the sexual experience with your partner, the willingness and the openness to improve that situation. So, for example, if I and my partner, for example, if I feel the sex is not good, I need to be willing to find appropriate way to communicate that with my partner. And my partner on the other end should be willing to listen to what I'm saying. And then both of us need to come up with ways to try and grow the experience.
True.
So I think we should not blame it on sex. I think we should blame on the...
Interest?
Not interest. You've said something. You've said something just right now. We should blame it in... I can't find the word right now, but I feel like it's on relationships are work. And for me, I look at relationships as like a seedling that you can walk out in your garden and then plant. For example, you've planted a maize seed. And it's a little bit drought. It's a little bit dry. What am I saying? So it's a little bit dry. So often enough, you go out there and water the maize for it to grow, because you want it to grow and mature and have good yields. So that's how relationships need to be treated, as something that needs care, attention, and monitoring.
Okay.
So if you get into a relationship with your partner and you're willing to take care of that relationship, monitor it, and want it to grow, there's so many things that you guys can grow together. Even the communication bit, the sex, maybe your financial bit, your emotional growth, your career-wise. Like the list is endless.
So let me ask, why is it that men are the ones who are more prone to drive the toxic agenda?
Say that again.
Opinion. Why is it that men are more prone to drive the toxic agenda in a relationship? Like, they're the largest contributors to the toxicity that is experienced within relationships. You know, last time we were talking about redefining the modern man.
Yeah.
So we were looking at the balance between the cultural man and the modern man.
Yes.
It's still an issue that we grapple with today, regardless of being cognizant that so much has changed, right?
Yeah.
And we have to really step up, be in tune with the times, and literally just go with the flow. You know, everybody's opinion matters.
I get what
But
you
we
mean.
still have that tendency to uphold some issues that tend to bring out the toxicity, because we live in a more reactive world right now.
I get what you mean. I think, according to how I understand how toxic relationships work, a toxic person is trying as much as he or she can to gain dominance. They want to be in control. They want to control you, yes, and all that. If they, often enough, they want to know who you're hanging out with, what you're doing, and all that. Like, they're trying to gain control. And I think control comes from a man's, I think being in control comes more from a man than a woman. A woman was kind of designed to be submissive. So, but a man, genetically, I think we were not wired to be submissive, especially to our significant other.
Yeah.
And when it gets to a point where you feel like you either don't have control of your partner, or you've lost it, or both of you don't really understand who is in control, now you'll come up with toxic ways to acquire the power of control.
True. Yeah, I agree, man.
That's what I'm thinking.
Solid.
Yes.
Like, I just had to run those questions, man, because, you know, when you talk about toxicity, you guys, the subject is huge, man.
The subject is huge.
Subject is huge.
You've said you've been in a toxic relationship?
Yes, I have.
So
Yes, I have.
when I say toxic relationship, what plays in your head? Like, give me the events, or probably some of your experiences inside a toxic relationship.
Man, mine are heavy.
This podcast has been structured in a way that it can handle. It can handle the weight.
It can handle the weight.
Yeah.
Like, you know, since you told me that you're going to talk about toxic relationships and
Yes.
stuff, man, I just got thinking, like, yo, play back. What are some of the things that I've gone through
Yes,
that have
yes,
literally driven me to the gutters, man? And, you know, one thing.
And
I
also,
do,
before you even start, disclaimer is, I'm a huge believer of, we have seasons in life. Like,
yes.
if I was in a toxic relationship with, for example, Njeri in 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
That's a season, that's a phase that I was in at that time.
Yes.
Between 2018 to 2019, I've gone through a great deal of growth, change, readjustment, and now I'm a totally different person.
Yes.
So even if I talk about my experience in 2018, 2019, I should not victimize the toxic partner saying she's toxic, because I really don't know who she is right now.
For sure. Yeah. That's a very wise disclaimer. We were growing up.
We were growing up. And
That's the
it
thing.
was probably the timing was not right. Maybe the environment, maybe our traumas, fears, insecurities played a huge role to harbor and create a toxic relationship. But after that, after toxic relationship, there are people who grow, there are people who mature, there are people who want better for themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should also give those toxic partners in the past credit, in the sense that maybe they did put in an effort to be better.
Not maybe they did. They actually did. The experience always shapes you.
Yes,
to become
it shapes you in a better way.
You know?
But there are also those who just don't want to grow.
There are people who do this for a living. It's like Jobo Bana.
Exactly. And there are those who just, there are people who don't know they're toxic.
Yes.
So you can't.
It?
Yeah. There are people who don't know they're toxic.
They must be very selfish.
Yes. And with that, let's take a short break and we will be right back. This is Naked Ego Podcast.
Naked Ego.
Guys, this episode has been brought to you by one of our partners, Istiqbal. Istiqbal is an international brand with presence in over 90 countries and with over 1,700 stores open worldwide. Istiqbal has furniture that you would see online and never get in any furniture shop in Kenya. Welcome back to Naked Ego Podcast.
Naked Ego. The more I'm in this space, the more I start seeing how naked this ego is, man.
Yes,
it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man. It strips you open, man.
This is open heart surgery, bro.
So let me share my experience in a toxic relationship and how it felt like, how it was for me. In a nutshell, how did it start? It started with how should I call it? Was it one night stand or something? It was based on sex. I saw this girl, she was hot. We started talking online, and then she kind of knew me. I think at that time my name was a bit popular because of my motorcycle accident at that time.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So she knew me. We started flirting and all that. Fast forward, went to her place first time. Nothing happened. Second time.
Congratulations, my brother.
No, it was because of her. Not me. It was because of her decision.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, so we had first sexual encounter. It was beautiful. It was magical. And then from there, we just kept meeting and doing the thing and over again. We got to a point where she wanted us to have unprotected sex because there was a question of now, do you trust me? I trust you. And I really don't know why we use unprotected sex as a measure of trust. I really don't know. But at that time, yes, she was like, okay, if we trust each other, we can have unprotected sex. We started having unprotected sex. Sex was good. And just to give you a brief background of my previous relationship and why I ended up in this relationship. My previous relationship, I was seeing this beautiful girl and we had an amazing experience. But inside our relationship, she lost her job. I tried to get her a job countless times. It wasn't successful. And it got to a point where she became a burden to me, in the sense that she depended on me to do everything in terms of providing for her and all that. And you just know how relationships without boundaries work. And now slowly by slowly now I started taking care of her siblings, and sometimes when you're making trip to her place, you need to do shopping and all that.
Yeah.
I started feeling that it was too much for me. And we started having issues in that relationship back and forth. But I know consciously one of the biggest problem was the fact that she wasn't providing, and I was struggling, and the relationship was not vulnerable enough for me to explain to her what my financial situation was.
At the moment.
Because she knew this guy comes from a well-off background. Yeah, he's sorted and all that. Yes.
The misconceptions of all relationships.
Exactly. Bro. And now when that relationship ended, I kind of subconsciously took an oath of, I don't want to date a woman who doesn't have her financial beat figured out or sorted out. Now back to the story of this toxic relationship beginning. I think one of the biggest motivator, one of the biggest motivator of me getting into this relationship was the fact that this mama came from a well-off family. So I was like, I don't really need to worry about her finances and all that. And drama. Bro,
does that ever work?
I didn't know. At that time, it made sense. The decision made sense. I don't think it works.
Okay.
I don't think it works. Something happened. I lost my job.
Oh, snap.
My businesses, the businesses that I had at that time kind of were messed up, because it was after my motorcycle accident, after me losing the leg. So I think most of the things that were excelling before the accident were now tanking. And I think when I was getting into the relationship, I got into that relationship while things were still tanking slowly by slowly.
Oh, snap.
So things were getting harder and harder. And I think that was also one of the biggest motivations that really pushed me into that relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. We got into the relationship. And when we started dating officially, it was very unceremonious. Like, I remember we went out one day to do burger or something? It was fast food. And then she told me, by the way, now that I've moved out, I want to settle. You either, because we were just having a sexual experience, we didn't give it a name.
We didn't define it.
We didn't define it. So she was like, okay, now that I've moved out, I want to settle down with a guy and try and grow this relationship thing. So if you feel like you're not ready, it's okay. You can give me space, and then I can meet somebody else. But if you feel if you feel like you are ready, then let's do the thing. My insecure self was like, man, who am I to let this mama who has her finances figured out? She had a beautiful ass. She was sexy. She was hot.
She does zingine complex.
Yeah, and she had a good job.
Yeah.
She was wanted by so many men.
But I'm the one.
Yeah, and I'm the one in control of this ship.
I know.
Ain't gonna leave this ship.
Ahoy there.
Yes.
Set voyage.
Exactly. And just like that, we got into a relationship.
Yeah.
The relationship wasn't based on the fact that
you had ideologies and you wanted to come
we
together.
Connected. The things we wanted, who we were. No, it was just based on the fact that I want to try something. Are you willing? Okay, jump on board. Yeah, and hell, man, it was a toxic relationship. And when I say toxic relationship, it came from both of us, because for her, she really didn't understand in terms of what she wanted from a relationship. I didn't know myself. She did not know herself. And she was at a phase where she wanted to try things. You know, she had just moved out from her folks' place.
Yeah.
And this is a mama who, she came from a strict religious family. They are well off, they had money and all that. And now this is the first time she has an opportunity to spread her wings.
Aha. You want to ban photo.
Yeah. So I think, and also she didn't know. So house parties was her thing.
Yeah.
And road trips with the Subaru boys was her thing. Like, she wanted to do the things that are trending. She wanted to be visible. She wanted to be validated. She wanted, and all that.
Yeah.
And we kept fighting because every time she would do these things, I felt like it was an opportunity for me to be sidelined.
Yeah.
Because every time we went out, she was like the life of the party and all that. Attention was on her. Guys were still hitting on her. Guys who had bigger cars, better jobs,
They're well figured out
bigger
than you are at
wallets.
the moment,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And I think it just kept going, getting worse and worse. The drinking, for me, you remember I told you I lost my job. My businesses, I think all of them were fucked up, messed up. I didn't have money. It got to a point where I was now depending on her financially. I was living in a rental place. I couldn't pay rent. I moved into her space. And it was a nightmare for me because I lost my self-esteem. I really didn't know who I was. I really didn't know why I was in that relationship. And all the decisions and the choices that I was making at that time were based on either my fear, my insecurity, my situation in terms of trying to feel and be worth and all that. Slowly by slowly, she kind of just, a woman would see and feel if this man is not really up to it.
Yeah.
And because I couldn't leave her place, I didn't have anywhere else to go. So this was like a home for me. I think she got motivated to also do things. She would cheat with the big boys. Even me, I felt like I wasn't being heard in that relationship. There was no communication. There was no understanding. I even also started flirting with women online. I had some little bit of attention online. I started flirting.
One thing led to another, you know.
Yes, one thing led to another. We were all kind of cheating. We were fighting.
Cheating. You're cheating.
Oh, okay, we were cheating.
No, bro.
We were cheating.
I have learned to not be judgmental about that space. Yeah.
Yes, we were cheating. We were fighting. I was a wreck. Think of a man. Think of a man who would inspire you, a man who you look up to. And now, because chances are this man, you've never really interacted with him, now strip him everything that you admire about him.
Shit, man.
Now he's naked. Like,
he's naked,
exposed. He doesn't have the financial freedom, doesn't have the love coming from the people he loves. He doesn't have a good relationship with the family. Every day is toxicity, in, out, like fights. It got physical. We were fighting. I remember this day we had a very bad fight that led to her, I kind of burnt her thigh with an iron box. It was just an ugly, ugly, ugly piece of relationship you can ever think about. We were fighting every other day. Every time she went for work, I would feel insecure. I would want to track her.
Yeah.
I did everything. I come from an IT space, so I would track her phone, know who she's talking to, who's talking with her, and all that. Every time she would receive a call from the ex, she would come home. That would be fights. It will just be endless traumatic experience. And we kept breaking up and making up. I feel like in that period that we were together, almost 2 years and a half, something close, we almost broke up more than 20 times, just on off. You break up today. Toxic relationships are very addictive. You break up today, 2 days later, you feel like you're missing that high, because even the fights give you some sense of high, the arguments and all that. You kind of miss that. And because every day you're used to chaos, fights, shouting, when the toxic partner leaves, it becomes silent, and that silence is sometimes it's not
peace,
an
man.
environment you're used to.
Yeah.
You kind of start feeling like, oh man, you miss somebody. You don't miss somebody, you're actually missing that toxicity, and it's very subconscious.
Is that what people call narcissism?
Maybe.
To a degree, right?
Yeah. It comes with a sense of narcissism. So it was a very, very bad. I remember we were fighting. There was cheating, there was lying, there was emotional abuse. You just want to control her and know each and everything she does every day. You want to know where she is, who she's talking to. Every opportunity where a man is nice to her, you accuse her of cheating. Because I was a gym fanatic, I was stronger than her that time. So I would bully her a lot in the sense that she couldn't fight back. There was just so much. And it's at that time that I didn't really know at that time, but later on I discovered that I lost myself. Zero self-esteem. I really didn't value myself. There are moments where I was like, maybe if I die or something, she would feel guilty she lost somebody. Like, you start entertaining those thoughts. Like, I was stripped of everything. When I say everything, my relationship with my parents was catastrophic. My relationship with friends, I really didn't have friends at that time. They were not close. We were not close. We wouldn't have a solid conversation. Relationship was, I didn't have a job. Even at that time, I remember we had a partnership with a friend of mine. We were doing business together. The guy also now just messed me up at that time. He stole the business from me at that time. I was just a wreck.
Yeah.
I was nothing. I was ash. And
that was your Damascus moment.
Yes, it was. People, for those who have been or have hit rock bottom, for me it was 20 floors lower than rock bottom. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. Yeah, and coming out of it, I just felt like I can do better. Like, relationships can be beautiful. Like, we can learn how to deal with our emotions. We can have disagreements and fights in a different way, in a better way, in a healthy way. We can choose partners in a better way. We shouldn't allow our insecurities, our fears
to get
the best of us. In the judgment of choosing your partner and all that. And we should not set stupid, silly goals or ultimatums when it comes to relationships. If you are out there, you're single, you're trying to meet somebody, don't set ultimatums. They might be coming from a space of pain, space of heart, and you really haven't dealt with that. So, yeah, I think in a nutshell, because this is a podcast, I think that's how I can explain it. It was, I've been involved in a motorcycle accident. I've lost my leg on the spot, but I can tell you, if I compare the toxic relationship and the pain of me losing a leg, the pain of me losing a leg is fucking nothing.
Yeah, man.
Emotional pain is something on another level.
Emotional pain takes out the dignity in you, man. It kills you.
Yeah.
It dries you out, man. And that's, like we spoke the other day when you're having the Q&A, you asked whether physical pain or emotional pain, man. And I think we seem to both agree.
Yeah. Physical pain any day, because...
Man, it just took me back. And now I'm just sitting here thinking about mine, and I'm looking at the whole sequence, and I'm like, dude... I mean, it was toxic for what it became after I was pretty much pushed away.
Yeah.
But, man, I'm just thinking about the extents that you can go through just to try and get that control.
Yeah.
Man, we become animals.
Yes.
We become animals, insensitive, and... Damn it, man. Now I don't even know how to structure. Why?
Yeah, we become animals because when you are the toxic partner, your priority is taking control, and you really don't care how you achieve it, as long as you get it. Be it in an unhealthy way. For you, there's nothing unhealthy. For you, you just have a goal, which is getting control. And you are willing to do anything possible to get it.
You know what, Bill? I won't really sit down and strip mine to, the detail.
Yes.
One thing's for sure. The toxic experience that I had is still well within my reach.
Yeah, I understand that.
And the fact that I've had to go through a lot just to work out who I am.
Yeah.
And how I want to be. More so now that I'm a grown man, figured out, and a father, and a husband. I don't want to get down to the details of it, but I'll just give you a face.
Yes.
My toxic period was influenced by 3 things. Number 1, my immediate societal perception of what a functional relationship should be like and what I was going through. Number 2, my religious belief.
Yeah.
And what I ascribed to religiously. And number 3, dominance. The fact that I'm a man, and if I call the shots, things should align.
Yeah.
This is gonna be slippery slope. But hey, you know what? It's the Naked Ego Podcast.
It's the Naked Ego Podcast, bro.
I entered into marriage in a very unfigured way.
Yeah.
I got married for every other reasons apart from me knowing exactly why I should be married.
Yeah.
So did my wife.
Yeah.
We were 2 people who are not figured out. In fact, we just come off different relationships. There's a period we weren't together, and I was dating a lady who really, she was it.
Yeah.
And then because of a little bit of not figuring myself out and stuff. Things just didn't go right, so we had to go separate ways. I never quite healed from that.
Yeah.
Because it did happen quite unceremoniously. And I was pretty much invested, but you know what? It is what it is.
It is what
That's
it
life.
is, yes.
So, fast forward out of a relationship that I was so much invested in into going back to Mama.
Yeah.
And quickly rushing into this whole marriage situation. Dude, the things that go through your mind as a man, because you're out here trying to paint or get the exact picture of the lady who gave you this very perfect space that you thrived in. You're trying to extort that kind of a lifestyle through another person who also has baggage, and both of you don't have the patience to address the situation, come to a consensus, ask yourselves, are we ready or are we not ready?
Yeah, both of you are not aware
Both of
enough.
us are not aware enough. We're kids.
Yes.
We came straight from a very churchy background that had all these things working for us. Oh, I can sing, I do this, I am in this position, and everything is so nice and right and perfect. These two people look too good together and they can actually get this thing going and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you know, at some point you feed off that. You feed off it, like it becomes your fuel as to why you should be holding on to something or somebody.
Yeah.
And you decide to take that route.
Yes.
But in your heart and in your mind and mental and emotional space, you're still clinging on to somebody who's not yours anymore.
Yeah, you haven't healed.
You have not healed.
On.
You have not moved on. You have not figured a way
Yes.
of just decluttering and sorting out stuff. And
sometimes you even don't know that you need to declutter.
the thing is, you're trying to race against time.
Yes.
Because you're trying to find the next available outfit that will sort of take off that grief or feeling of, you know, detachment from somebody.
And
so
then-
that you can move on, you can continue. I mean,
Yes,
she did it and now she's out. Now I can go and get it from this person because in life, me, I'll go.
Yes.
But what you're doing is you're literally just moving from one unfigured situation and planting, in fact, making a lifetime commitment to somebody while you have not really figured out what really goes on. Boss. I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I have had to work on myself because I accept that I
Yeah.
was very, 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 very key in bringing the toxicity.
You're not ready.
I wasn't ready,
You're not ready.
but I projected it to somebody unwillingly.
Yes.
The person coming in was coming from a space where they also excited to feel free, do life, you know, they're out of their foxes and into theirs and they just want to like jump in and live the life.
Yes.
And then you're coming with that control aspect and you want to like shut it down stuff. And in the process, you realize that you're pretty much cupping somebody beyond their ability or beyond, you know, the speed to try and figure out their space and settle into the new life.
Yeah.
So what does it do? It brings two people looking for two different options in different places, and here you are.
With misplaced expectations.
Misplaced expectations, and everybody just goes separate ways. And I remember there used to be such heated, you know, moments where we would actually go apart for a couple of days and come back and still figure out like, yo, you know what? Just get the fuck out, man. I don't want to be in this anymore. And it brought in a certain essence, a certain element of disconnection where we both went separate ways.
Yeah, and that is something that is very common with toxic relationship.
Yes.
Because toxic relationship are never built on a system where there is proper communication. So every time
Yes.
there is
Yes.
there is an issue, you guys haven't learned or taught yourselves on how to communicate. So the best solution for you in that moment is to separate for the time being until probably that pain point that you are feeling in the moment is no longer a pain point. Now you've either moved on from that pain, and now you're looking at this person that was inflicting that pain in a different way. Now that's when you come back. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, I find myself fighting with whoever, my partner or my girlfriend, who we are in, and I'm the toxic person. Then probably we are fighting over, let's say something as simple as me coming home late or me coming home drunk. You get it? So she has raised a concern, me being the toxic person. Instead of actually listening or addressing the concern, I either try to spin the wheel or either blame it on her. Oh, you are even the cause of why I'm staying out late. Oh, you're not supportive and all that. And now there's just a heated argument, and these two people can't communicate. And because you guys can't teach yourself communication in that moment, so the best thing for both of you is separation. And that's why it's very common for people in toxic relationship to either break up very easily and make up so easily. It's just because you're trying to avoid that bump, which is addressing the fact that you come home late, or the fact that you're over drinking, or you're overspending family money. So you'll break up, and then 2-3 days later, 1 week later, your concern is no longer him coming back home late. Your concern is now you're missing him. Your concern is now the good moments that you guys have been having. And now you yearn him, and now you start missing him, and now you start texting him, and he says he misses you back.
You know what's interesting?
Then you're back.
And this is a very unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
But breaking up in toxic relationships sometimes is not a solution between two willing people who want to work things out.
It's never a solution.
Sometimes all it just takes is for you to just take a back seat and realize, this situation is all wrong. Why am I saying so? The toxic situations that creep up in marriage, I can talk about marriage because I'm in marriage.
Yes.
And marriage is a relationship.
Yes.
And there's a period of toxicity. There's this dark cloud that sits over the two of you where there's absolutely no desire to make anything right. You don't want to talk to your partner. You don't want to come out and confront your inner desires and actual needs. Talk about those ugly things.
Yes.
I don't feel you. I don't desire you anymore. I feel like we drifted apart. There's this period that this happened, and I feel like there's this element of checking out. And since I have this kind of respect for you, we can talk about it, try and see whether we can get balance out of it. There's that period where you don't really have that over you.
Yeah.
And you just go separate ways.
Yeah, the easy way out.
And then as time goes by, there's a sudden fondness that really builds up as you spend time with somebody, regardless of the circumstances that you guys went through.
Yeah.
Where now you're able to collect yourself and realize, wait a minute, I have gone through so much with this person, and this person is still here and willing to work it. It doesn't hurt for me to just drop my ego.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And talk to this person and make amends.
Yeah, that's some. For you to be able to achieve that, you are lucky. And for those people who are watching, who are in relationships, who are in marriages, this is one thing you should know. Like, even in good relationship, you might have toxic moments.
Yes.
You might have toxic phases where you guys, either both of you, your partner or something comes up, and then you just get to be toxic to each other. But the beautiful thing about healthy relationship is you always figure it out and then you move on. And also, for those who are listening, when we talk about toxic relationship, you're not just talking about romantic relationship. Toxic relationship exists in workspaces. Toxic relationship exists at family level. You and your friends, you and your siblings. Like, it's any relationship can be toxic. Can be toxic.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to be aware of. Toxic relationships are there every day. And one thing we've from the definition of that we read out, it robs you your self-esteem and it drains your energy. It just keeps milking you day in, day out. Yeah. Yes. I think we can take a short break and then we can come back and talk
need a
about...
breather on this, man.
We can talk about signs of toxic relationship.
Yeah.
This is the Naked Ego Podcast.
Bill, do you ever allow people to do the introduction? Like,
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Naked Ego Podcast. Brought to you by Bill Cassandra himself.
No, you're the one doing the...
Relax, I'm giving you the credits, man. You're the guy. You're the prime guy, man. And the guests of the day are Kinyua Maina himself. I just don't know whether I can do this, man. You do it way better than me, man. But yo, it's cool. Yeah?
Yeah.
Bro,
you know, we were talking about toxic relationship, and then we painted a picture of they exist even more so out of romantic relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
So you wanna bring us up to speed with your experience with toxic relationship away from the romantic?
Yes, number one. Let me say this one thing.
Yes.
Men have a habit of being toxic towards one another.
Yes.
Men are really, really toxic towards one another. Why do I say so? Majama tuna tabia kugurumishana sana. Yeah? You want to roll with the big boys. Yes. You want to chill with the big boys, right?
Yes.
I want to chill with the boys. I want to do this. I want to do that. But let's face it. Half the time, chaps are meeting to just go about life. They're not building one another up. They're shredding each other up. I'll say this. There's a point in life that I was really trying to put the dots together. Trying to break free. Yeah. You know, spread my wings and, you know, just generally try and establish a niche, a comfortable fallback amongst friends. Yeah. In my earlier years. And I used to hang out with this crew
at that time.
At the time, at the moment. And in the crew, of course, you know, there's always that one person who's well figured out, has the money, can get the cars, you know, guy's smooth, can get the girls. You know, he's the one who seems to know like all these places around the country. So whenever you're chilling out with these guys, you guys are sorted, right?
Yes.
And then there's always a chap at the bottom of the crew who is the guy who has no money, can never really get anything running. And you're just trying to hang out because you have this comfortable space, fall back and stuff. So in this particular crew, I happen to be the guy at the bottom of the pack.
The clueless one.
The clueless chap. So anytime these chaps would call out for a hangout and stuff like that, they would just be like, hey, Buddha, leo maze naenda kuchili place, maze Buddha MVP. Of course, being the clueless chap, you're always the first one to show up, right?
Yes.
So you go try to make an impression to these guys, but you know, at your particular level, even your jokes are not funny.
Yes.
Nobody's laughing. Nobody cares about shit. You're trying to open your mouth and everybody just looks at you like, so you become the laughing stock. So I remember this one time. That time was a very chatty chap. I had this department that I was supposed to organize for something for the youth at the time. And I came up with these ideas that I wanted us to go somewhere and have this kind of an activity. So I wake up one day and decide, you know what, I'm going to leave Nairobi, Jav to Nakuru, get my bearing to where I wanted us to go and try and get the details so that I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, things laid out, plan for it, and guys can go have a good time. So the alpha of the pack hears that I wanted to go and do 1, 2, 3, 4. And it was like, yo, bro, you're going here. Calm down, my guy. I can cover you. We can go there, man. You know, kona dinga, kona chapa mzee, unastuka ni, mbona mpanda matri? Mpanda matri mzee, wacha pressure. You got you, man. When you boy, when you know. So of course I got comfortable. You know what? Hey, big deal. And sorts out when shock on me. Chap decides to take me for his escapades and nonsense, and I never really achieved
anything.
Nothing. Came back to Nairobi, I was dejected, went back. People are waiting for results. I didn't give results because I followed somebody, but somebody decided, you know what, since I'm catering for everything, I'm just going to go with it.
Yes.
And then we enter the second bit. They decided to reorganize my plan. Now they came in as a crew. Boxed me in a car. We went somewhere. Tried to sort out the plan, but they decided to do their own thing. It was shit. But because I was the bottom of the pack, I kept my mouth shut. Right?
I see.
On coming back, we were nearing the date that I had given as a proposed date to actually go for this event. But I never had anything concrete. Long and short of it, that year, people didn't go for an activity. And then it became that this guy cannot plan for shit. This chap doesn't contribute for anything.
Kinyua is nothing.
Is nothing.
Can't plan something as simple as an event.
Anytime you hang out with the chaps, they end up spending most of the day making fun of you. So you're never part of the fun. You're always a laughing stock. But you know what's interesting? You always seem to take yourself back hanging out with the same people, saying that, even though si uongea. But it's not actually the thing.
No, it's not.
How many people leave the comfort of their houses telling their mamas, hey, I'm going to hang out with 1, 2, 3, 4. Their mamas clearly see that the chaps that this guy is actually putting himself up with are all just taking him for a ride. This guy is at a needy stage in his life, but he prefers hanging with those people because they look good on aesthetics, but they don't help him out.
They validate him.
They validate him. Do they?
Yes, in this sense. They do? They do in this sense. Because every human being has got 4 psychological needs. So one of them is everybody wants to feel visible and validated.
True.
And they validate him in the sense that, so for example, let's say Eddie. Eddie is our guy. And every weekend, Eddie goes and hangs out at State House. And then we see him taking pictures with the president and all, and even they hug, and even he brings the president live on his IG and all that. Yes. So, and then Eddie is the popular guy. So, if somebody sees me hanging around Eddie, they kind of subconsciously place me on the same level as Eddie. So, people will validate me in the sense that, it's like now you hang with the big boys. You hang
with the big boys, man.
Yes, exactly.
I know.
So people will always, they will distribute some sense of respect that they give Eddie to you.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
True.
Yes.
But it's about the people,
it's
not
about
the
people. No, it's not about at the circle. actually, it might be Eddie doesn't like me. Eddie despises me.
Yeah.
Eddie does everything that I don't like.
Thinks of you as a second class
Yes,
citizen.
but and you see those type of relationships come from a space of insecurity,
Yeah, for sure.
because you feel like either you are lacking or you feel less in either something specific or something emotional. Now, in Eddie's sake, is probably I have grown up. I've never interacted with the MPs or the important people in the country.
In the country.
The most important person I've ever interacted with probably is my boss.
Exactly.
And my boss may be only duka ya
Involves you,
kuuza.
right?
Yes, exactly. So I will feel inferior to those elite people in the society.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
anything that I can do to feel that I'm in connection, like I'm now close or I'm related, I will feel validated. It's something as simple. I know people who, it's Uhuru Kenyatta's full names are Hulu Muigai Kenyatta. There are Kikuyus who are called Muigai and they're not related to Kenyatta.
Yeah, enough.
Yes, and they use that name if an opportunity arises to show, like, you see.
I'm close to the chap.
Exactly. It's just a validation. So what you're saying is it can go both ways. Your mama can see you're hanging out with these boys. These boys are treating you like crap, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
You yourself can't see it because you come from a space of insecurity. It's almost similar to what happened to me when I got into the relationship. It can also go another way in the sense that you're hanging out with these guys. Your mama doesn't know that these guys treat you like crap. But you know these people are they treat you like crap.
Yeah, they're toxic.
But the fact that your mama sees you hanging out with these people who they are perceived in the society as those who have made it, your mama starts respecting you.
Yeah.
Your mama starts encouraging you to keep pushing with those relationships. And even if you're struggling in life, your mama kind of has some sort of hope in the sense that, this might be the breakthrough of my babe.
True. It actually goes both ways, man.
Yes, it goes both ways.
It's either she sees that you're crap and you're sticking on, or it's either you're covering for the dude's crap and she thinks like you've made it.
Yes, exactly.
And most men are usually stuck up in that box.
Yes.
They're stuck up in that box.
Yes, because
if the picture looks good, if the aesthetic looks good to her, sustain it.
Exactly. And it also comes from how we have defined ourselves as men and how the society has defined us as men. We've been defined using things like either the money that you own, the job position that you hold, the type of babe that you're dating. Like it's all aesthetic. It's all aesthetic. Yes.
Yeah.
And now, when you know that's how the society defines you, you'll do anything possible to make your aesthetic look beautiful.
Yeah. And it's sad, man, because let me tell you,
sad.
The best thing that a man can ever do is get to a point of self-confidence.
Yeah.
Self-awareness.
Yes. Emotional intelligence.
And being damn comfortable in your own skin.
Yes, just loving yourself and being, I love that. Being
comfortable in your own skin.
In your own skin.
You know, mamas make this very, very interesting analogy. Not all, but many. Yeah. Many ladies tend to believe that men can't live on their own.
Yes, it's a belief. Yes, it's a belief.
They believe that all men just want to either sit and cling on to something because there's a particular desire that a man needs to get validated that sits well within his scope of reach. It's in his relationship, his romantic relationship, his family relationship, or it's in his peers or at his work.
Yes.
Like he cannot define his space and be comfortable in it. He always has to draw something. There's nothing as dangerous as a man who is comfortable in his own skin, bro.
Yeah, that's a beast.
Do you know when you get to a point where you're dating and things are going the way they're going. You're putting in the time, you're
Yeah.
putting in the money, you're
Yeah.
putting in the emotion, you're very expressional. And then somewhere along the line, things just don't align. And without drama, without pressure, without malice, you just say, you know what, I respect the decision. We can actually end this amicably, go separate ways. I'll probably grieve a little bit, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Have a nice life. I'm still reachable. I'm not your enemy. Bro, gather yourself up together.
Yeah.
Get to a point where you can actually tell a lady, it doesn't have to work, but you don't have to be enemies.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous man.
Yeah, that's a powerful
Powerful man.
man. And you see, one thing that we as human beings fall short of, especially men, is we've never had a formal education in terms of how we relate with each other. Like
Yeah.
we've never been taught.
Yeah.
And some of these lessons that come is we learn them along the way.
Yeah.
We learn them in unhealthy ways,
Yeah.
healthy ways, or defined by the environment and all that.
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't know better. Sometimes, yes.
True.
And there are people who lived all their life without knowing better.
True.
And there are people who, lucky enough, they find themselves
find
in their
themselves,
20s,
They
in their
collect
30s,
themselves at
yes,
some
in their
point,
40s and all that. But why I'm telling you this is the importance of you as a man just being confident and comfortable in your own skin is, man, I lost a leg. I don't have a damn leg, for crying out loud. But people still, they respect and love me for that, because I've been able to embrace and love myself and have fun with myself.
Yes.
And those are actually, it's funny that you come to discover when you start building relationship, be it with your people, with your romantic partner and all that, at workspaces, these aesthetics really don't matter. It comes with who you are.
Yeah.
I think the most powerful human being is that human being who has accepted themselves and they've decided to be who they are.
Exactly.
You get it?
Yes.
That person he's a beast. You get it?
You know, nothing will ever stop you.
Yes.
Bill,
yes.
imagine you're in a situation where you study the people that you're with, see what your input is.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I like paying attention to right now, seasons.
Yeah.
Seasons. You know, seasons. This is a very, 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 very difficult chapter to talk to. To know when this season is right and when it's time for you to check out.
Yes.
Knowing that you're sitting down at a particular time with people and you can get along, but you get to a certain point where you feel like there's a shift in the energy, so you don't compromise or you don't stay longer than what you can actually take up in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the beginning of toxicity is when you disregard the end of a season.
Yeah. When you're holding on to something.
When you're holding on to something
that is no longer there.
but every other thing points you to the direction that, this is it. You need to check out.
And actually, that is the gateway to your mental ill health.
There you go.
Yes, because
everything starts from there.
Yes, things start going haywire because we are holding on to either our past relationships, our past experience, our past success, and all that. Talking of toxic relationship away from the romantic ones, I've had couple. Let me just tell you one about the one that I had with my boss. Yes.
Tumeingia kazini.
Yes.
Huko ni kubaya.
No, it was earlier on when I left college. I was lucky enough. The first job I had was in Ireland. So I was working with these non-governmental organizations. So I was in Dublin for almost 6 months. And I was a young man. I really didn't know who I was. I really didn't know anything about life. I idolized. I was the type of people who idolized people who had money.
Yeah.
And people who had success.
Yeah.
Nowadays I don't. But at that time I did.
It's all shit.
So yes, and we had a very toxic boss. Our boss was gay. Yeah, and being gay is not. It's not bad. It's a normal thing.
It's a choice.
But he was taking advantage of younger guys who are straight.
Okay.
Like he
was trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
Dominance.
I think, yeah. You see now, toxic relationships are based on that, trying to establish dominance in everything.
Yeah.
But he believed that every guy is gay until you've tried it and said no. So it was a weird one. And
yeah, that's twisted. Man.
Yes. So
that's twisted.
It started by him hitting on me. I kept saying, no, I'm straight. But he just kept persisting. And now he would start denying me certain privileges just to get me more desperate and all that. And it just got so bad to a level where, to some extent, I was abused. I was abused by my boss, and it became a very toxic relationship in the sense that the space at work, it never felt safe anymore. Mm-hmm. Every time you would walk in there, you would feel like it's like you're going for a torture season.
Yeah.
Every time his name would pop up or he would walk into the office, like you just have a negative energy towards him. Mm-hmm. You would resent him, you start even entertaining the thought of how would life be when this nigga is dead. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sheesh,
yes, it was so bad. It was so bad to a level where I lost myself. Like, I lost myself. I really didn't know who I was. And then at that time, when I reached out to my family to explain how the situation was, they were like, usianze hivyo, umepata opportunity. Wow.
I know, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes. So,
I feel you 100 on that, man.
Exactly. So it was very painful. And to me, it was a life lesson. Like, because now you're from Africa, you're from Kenya, probably you're the first relative to fly out of the country. Yes. Now your family is using that as a privilege to now validate themselves.
The name of the family has been elevated.
Just from the fact that you are working out of the country. Now your family doesn't want to lose that by facing the reality and the truth of what is really happening to you.
Fuckery, man.
And now you suffer through that journey for a long time. I had one of the worst experiences I've ever had in employment. Yeah, so that is also an example of a toxic relationship out of the normal romantic relationship that we are used to.
You know, you just reminded, like, when you spoke about work, I have also had that kind of experience. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a period in my early marriage stage. Mm-hmm. My businesses had tanked. Mm-hmm. We had no money at all. Mm-hmm. And of course, because you guys had just got married and all of a sudden nothing is really working out, and stress levels hit fever pitch, and you guys are at loggerheads. Yes. I started taking some menial jobs. So I used to work as a driver to somebody. Mm. And this person did give me a picture that I was going to get a position in his company to do some bit of management, fleet management. And I was very passionate about it at the moment. I was pretty in touch with the transport sector, and I wanted to take up fleet management. I used to enjoy those slaps. They used to have projects spanning with the government quite a lot that time. So these people looped me with the surety that I was going to get a certain job to express myself in a particular way.
Yeah.
But that was not the case. They kept me as a domestic driver for a period of time. Paid wages, sometimes didn't. They just never saw the value of what they promised. They preferred to keep you holding the short end of the stick. And then at one point, they pushed me to another person who made it, well, it was good at one point because I needed it at that time. At that time, I was at a point where anything goes. I can take it. I need it.
You're willing
at least I was able to bring bread home. But it wasn't what they promised. And I was pretty desperate.
Yeah.
So that desperation keeps you holding
It keeps you there.
short end of the stick.
It keeps there for long.
You wake up every day charging, hoping that you're going to get the breakthrough, but then you end up going through the cycle. And then you come back feeling less.
It keeps eating you every day, and just because you're desperate human being has got, it's like you've scared somebody inside the house with no door. They're trying to find a way. Yes, like there's literally no door. You can't.
I know. Yeah. And I remember, man, like the way it all ended was even more chaotic because I got blamed of doing something that I didn't do. And I was cut off. I was let loose pretty unceremoniously. But God, look at me today, my brother. I am not needy.
Yeah, and
Nikola Kakiru, by the way.
And people might be wondering, why is Kinyua wearing a reflector? You're just from work.
Because I came straight from work to the shoot, and there was no time to change. But I kind of like
and also just for people to understand, there are different types of toxic people.
Yes.
There are those who will never be available for you. There are those who will overpromise. There are those who will just be abusive. And talking about abusive, if you are in a relationship that is abusive, that is no longer a toxic relationship. It's way, way worse than a toxic relationship.
That is violence.
You need to exit that relationship as soon as yesterday. So if you are in an abusive relationship, don't even sit and wait. You really don't know where it can go. You really don't know.
You know what? The human nature is just something very interesting.
Yeah.
This is somebody who beats you to a pulp.
Yes.
But you still sit waiting for that one day when he or she will see that this is not the way to treat you.
Yeah.
And do it right.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people make it out of it.
Not so many. Not so many in the sense that there are those who make it out of that relationship through their grave, and there are those who never make out of that relationship in the sense that they stay there until end of time.
Actually, nobody ever does. The best way is just to flee.
To walk out. Because it's crazy. And there are different types of toxic people and toxic relationships. The one thing that you should get out of this episode is it will drain you. It will drain your energy. It will keep you feeling less and less of yourself. It will keep eating your self-esteem. And also sometimes there are those people who are in a toxic relationship, and sometimes you from the outside, you're like, why don't they just leave? It's not as easy as you from the outside can see. This is a human being who has been stripped their ego. They have been stripped their self-esteem. They have been stripped their hope. It's like they are on a drug, and that drug is in that relationship. So they just don't see, they don't have the energy. Walking out of a toxic relationship is not as easy as we think. So if you are around people who are in a toxic relationship, give them grace, walk with them through that journey, be supportive, try and provide them with the information that can really help them to grow, because toxic toxic people are always unbalanced.
Yeah.
And sometimes you sit there because you cared genuinely for this person when it started, and that love and care still exist inside you, and you hope that there's a time where this person will turn around and realize that. And that tiny bit of thought of he might turn around is what is keeping you there. So you really don't know. Just treat these people with grace. For those who are in toxic relationship, be there for them, as I've said. Can we talk about the signs of toxic relationship? I had some notes here.
I kind of like your note vibe, by the way. You're very structured.
I'm like trying, that. Bro. I'm trying, man.
You're not trying. You're doing it. You're reading off.
Yeah, I'm doing. So I think I'll be reading, and then we can just give random examples. So number one, you don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. And safety doesn't necessarily need to be physical, in the sense that your home gate is open and all that.
Electric fences are armored and stuff. Yeah.
Safety can be something as simple as you being listened to.
Vulnerable.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You can be vulnerable with this person without feeling judged and all that.
Yeah.
Your naked self, your secrets and all that can be with this person without feeling judged and all that. Like, your thoughts, your stupidity, your cleverness, everything that you have is not being used against you to feel like it's not safe being here anymore. Yes. So
can you imagine the situation? Like, I think we Africans have a habit of creating that particular insecurity in our own homesteads.
Yes.
By the virtue of having our internal affairs taken up in the family. Like, your mother comes to address your bedroom problems.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Or because you had this kind of disagreement and misunderstanding because you're at a different wavelength, now it is the issue of the wazés and community to address. Let's touch on that a little bit, by the way, because I feel that is something that we don't really talk about. How to handle conflict, and how conflict, how conflict resolution adds on to toxicity in a relationship.
I feel like, personally, I always advocate for healthy relationships, and me advocating for healthy relationships come with me really requesting people to be very intentional and aware and understand what they get themselves into in terms of communication, and communication needs to be calculated and to be cultivated before you even get into the relationship.
Yeah.
And conflict resolution needs to be, it's something that you guys need to build before you even get into a relationship.
True.
So if you guys are in a relationship and you've never even resolved a conflict, you even don't know how to disagree in a healthy way, you don't know how to quarrel in a healthy way, man, that's sad. And also the bottom line is your bedroom matters needs to be
your bedroom issues.
It needs to be your bedroom issues, and you two need to sit down and find solutions to it. Inviting a third party into something that they really
have no contribution towards.
Not even contribution. They can't even understand how it was built, how it's structured, and how it works, and how it exists, and how it survives.
Yes.
It's just, no matter who they are, be it your father, your siblings, your mom, you inviting them into your relationship matters is just, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because this is one thing I understand, and this is one thing I know and I've seen. Family members will always protect their own.
Yes, they'll always pick sides.
Yes.
It's always about
protect their own.
My son can never do that. I never raised him to do that. Or my daughter was never taught.
Yes. So don't do that. Don't allow those people to come into your relationships. Family members are biased. If you guys can't resolve a conflict, go to a therapist. That's the best thing I can even advise you guys. Go to a therapist.
I think a third party.
Yeah, go sit down to somebody who was professionally, yes,
to any of you.
you, and then help and guide you guys out of that. Another one.
Go.
Another sign of a toxic relationship is you have bad or non-existent communication. That's exactly what we were talking about.
It all comes down to your expression, communication, and packaging.
Yes. So,
I think normal people ought to normalize talking about uncomfortable truths.
Yeah.
We spend too much time trying to discuss perfections and possibilities and outcomes of a perfect, healthy relationship. But you never take time to really address and talk about those very uncomfortable situations that we sit in that might make us contribute to a particular, environment that is not probably healthy.
True. I think also it also comes from a space of we have never been... We are not even aware in terms of what to expect when it comes to relationships, because we are always
we anticipate
perfection
and functionality.
Yes, from human beings, which really doesn't. I don't think there's any perfect human beings. Even relationship between you and your dad has its own challenges. Its own
between you and your wife, you and your girlfriend,
everyone. So
your partner,
yes, I love my brother and I and my brother fight a lot. Yes. It doesn't take away the love.
Yes.
But it just means there are certain points where we just fight is the only way where we can resolve this. So I think acknowledging that a relationship can't just sail and exist without talking about uncomfortable situations is a bad way. And I feel uncomfortable situation is the best way to deepen your level of vulnerability in a relationship.
True.
Next, we can talk about the next one is you feel like you've lost yourself. I think yes.
Because you do not have direction. You don't even have a clear vision of where you want to go.
Yes.
You literally you're eyeballing. You're just sitting anticipating for brighter days, but there's nothing
I get it.
At the moment, showing you that there's going to be any breakthrough at any one time.
And even that's at the point where sometimes men start being temperamental, anger issues and all that. Like you've lost yourself, you really don't know.
All of a sudden, every single thing
the
just
tiny
thing,
yes.
She came, she hugged you from behind. Nini wewe kwani uko na dekora? Nini hizi vitu ulifundishwa na nani? Hivyo ndo unafanyaga na watu wenyu. Like you literally become erratic.
Exactly.
Man, people need to watch out for that.
Yes. Next is judgment, not curiosity. Is like you be in a situation where you feel like you're being judged every day. A simple comment that you put out, it's being analyzed, it's being packaged. Like
let me tell you this. You come back home. You were given an instruction. We want milk.
Yes.
You went to the supermarket.
Yes.
The milk is not Tuzo, it's Kinangop.
Yes.
And then you take Kinangop home. And then when you get home with Kinangop, you look at her face cringe. And then you're like, Kwani wewe utai? Like literally that's
you can't move from your chair.
You feel like you're judged. Like your judgment at the supermarket is subject to so there's a lot of insecurity that comes out as a result of that.
And it can also be something as simple as you organize a trip, both of you go out, and then, for example, you're all excited for the trip, and then when something bad happens, you are victimized for that decision and that choice.
And you feel and you're convinced. Man.
Yes. Another one, you feel belittled and ashamed. I think we've somehow touched that
quite a number of times.
Another one is you don't receive empathy. Empathy. I think there's a line I read somewhere. Empathy is the capability of actually having the having the power to be able to, for example, if somebody uses glasses, having the ability to kind of pick those glasses and put them on and see
Clarity.
their situations from their point of view and really understand, as opposed to just judging them. Yes. So I feel like having somebody who can actually understand, like, oh man, I'm struggling with this. Oh yeah, it's normal. It's normal to struggle. It doesn't define who you are and all that.
Yeah.
So I feel that is also very important.
It's important.
Another one, you are playing a dysfunctional role. How
you're literally not living up to your purpose. A man is supposed to be the direction giver of the house, but all of a sudden, you don't seem to have the direction. So you're not a man, or you're not man enough.
Next, you feel controlled and manipulated. I think that will explain.
It's the core of
yes.
The core of
I think
toxicity.
that's what
It's pretty much yes. So yeah, people should watch out for all these signs of toxic marriages. Remember, it's not just the romantic relationships.
And other relationships.
It's in your families. Yes. It's in your workplace. It's in your squad, your boys or your girls. Yeah. You know, like literally, it's everywhere around you. And mental health check.
Yes. And also, toxic relationship is such a big topic. We can't really cover everything in an hour.
It's crazy.
So I think this is what we've tried to share our experiences and what we've been exposed to. I think before we wrap up, we can talk on behalf of those people who are in toxic relationships.
Oh yeah.
What can they do to come out of it? Like, how do they maneuver that?
Guys, if you are in a situation that you can consider is toxic for you, two things. Number one, take the highway. Go if that is where your sanity is going to be restored from. Or if you don't want to go, then step up to the plate. Get off all these issues that block your mind and confront the elephant in the room. Not violently, because violence is never a solution. Don't add on to toxicity thinking that you're taking care of toxicity. Every toxic person wants to justify why they are on the right and the other person is on the wrong.
Yeah.
That is never a solution.
I think, yes. I think you can try as much as you can to address, talk to your partner, and don't...
Respectfully,
create a good environment to have a sober conversation.
Exactly.
And try it over and over again. And if... One thing I read somewhere was if for example, you've talked about something and they've committed to do A, B, and C for you guys to come out of that toxic relationship or to grow the relationship, and they do not meet up that promise, you should withdraw yourself from it up until they do that specific thing that they promised. So you should also come up with a way of punishment. If you withdrawing yourself from the relationship for a period of time is a sense of punishment, go for it. But also you need to entertain the thought that you can do everything in the best way possible, in a perfect way, and still the relationship will not work. Why? Because being in a toxic relationship is both of you are on different wavelengths.
Yes.
So trying to reason with somebody who's on a different wavelength, sometimes it's not feasible. It's very, very difficult. So you should also entertain the thought that if you try and it doesn't work, just walk out. Another important question that Eddie asked us was, where do you draw the line in terms of, for those who probably they're in a situation where the toxic relationship has just started, ndio imetoka tu kwa ground, imeanza kukaa, ndio inajimarinate. Yes. So I feel like you as a person who's very aware,
Self-awareness is key.
Yes, if you are very aware and you can feel like this relationship is draining you, is kind of pushing you in a way where you're starting to lose your self-esteem as a man, as a woman, you're starting to lose yourself. I feel like that is the line where you need to start talking to your partner, start addressing. You see, some people they might be willing to work it out. And as I've said, there are healthy relationships that have toxic season. So for you, it might be a toxic season, not necessarily a toxic relationship. So
yes, exactly.
At that moment when you feel drained, when you feel like you're starting to lose yourself, that is the point where you need to start talking about it. And
let me give guys a free tip just before.
Go on, man.
Make it normal to sit down with your partner and tell them, I am in this space at the moment.
Yeah.
It may not be because there's a bunch of factors that have been put in by the other person, but because you're in a season where you feel disjointed. Talk about it.
Yes.
It helps.
Communication. Communication, we can't stress enough. And I think we can wrap up. Yeah. You want to sign out?
This has been your hosts, Bill Cassandra himself and Kinyua Maina signing out.
This is the Naked
Ego Podcast.
Peace out.